You know, he hasn't even said anything yet, and I already want to laugh. I mean, if you're going to intercut your intro with actual footage from your video where you aren't saying anything, for the love of atheismo, at the very least, could you mute it out so we don't have to hear your sniffs and grunts? It's goddamn distracting. And also quite funny wondering just how long he actually sits there before he starts saying anything. Because I could imagine it's hours before he remembers he's supposed to start talking after pressing the little red record button. There is definitely, somewhere, endless footage of him gormlessly staring at the camera, not a single coherent thought in his head. And honestly, very little is about to change.
Hello everybody and welcome to Bill's Front Porch.
Yep, I don't know how we keep ending up here, but we do. Bad luck, I suppose. Anyway, what incredibly stupid thing do you have to say today? Last time it was atheists are out to get your kids, so you should subscribe to this random goddamn magazine. So, as long as it's less stupid than that, I'll be happy. Which must be the case, because look, this is my happy face. Can't you tell?
I am so happy to be living in the days when I get to watch the theory of evolution.
Well, you don't really get to watch evolution so much as you observe it over time and generations. That's why it's a little unintuitive to some. Usually really stupid people, but I'm glad to see that you're excited about it. For a minute there, I thought you were going to say something really dumb. Phew.
Die of its own dead weight.
Oh, great, never mind. No, you're not, Bill, because that's not going to happen. First off, speaking of dead weight, you might want to do something about that thing inside your skull. I mean, it's not like it's doing you any good in the thought department. There would be so much room for activities if you got rid of that, and nothing of value would be lost. Because, of course, evolution is absolutely fine. The fact that your lot constantly lie about it or simply refuse to understand it is the only reason idiots like you think that it's dying, has been debunked, destroyed, or any other negative adjective starting with D. The worst one, of course, being decanted. I mean, seriously, waiting to drink my whiskey? Like some sort of fool? No, it goes straight into the eye hole, just like God intended.
Science, legitimate science, has produced...
Oh, you just gotta love the faux caveat that anything that doesn't say what he wants it to say, well, that's just not legitimate science. While almost certainly ignoring the fact that the same illegitimate science has in fact produced a ton of stuff. It has given answers that actually produce results and have made actual changes to the world. While many of the things he considers legitimate science have done absolutely nothing of the sort. At best, producing things that make the world a worse place by making people dumber and distrustful of real science. Thanks so very much for that, Bill.
No serious evidence to support the story that life came about through billions of years of random chance.
Considering that you are supposedly talking about evolution, the fact that you then immediately pivot to life being produced by anything, let alone some nebulous concept like random chance, demonstrates what is obvious to anyone who's ever seen the cowboy larping dumbass talk about science. That you, in fact, don't know what the hell you're talking about. Evolution does not, nor has it ever even attempted to explain where life comes from. And then there's of course the cherry on top, calling evolution random chance when natural selection, the cause of evolution, at least out in the wild, is anything but random. Oh, and again, if there is any proof, well, that's immediately not legitimate science, making a nice little feedback loop where even, or I guess especially, when you're wrong, no, actually, you're magically right.
And here's the latest kick in the crotch to the evolutionists.
Oh, I bet it's just going to hit us right in the fun part so hard that we can almost feel it. Almost. I imagine whatever you have is so powerful, it could be compared to having a fly or perhaps a tuft of lint landing on us. Such an incredible strike that, were we paying microscopic levels of attention, we might even notice that you had tried. But that's just a guess. I mean, it's not like everything that Bill has tried to destroy with his razor-sharp wit has ended up with him getting his head stuck in a nearby tree while whatever he was attacking carries on blissfully unaware.
If dinosaurs died out 65 million years ago...
Is he going to do the juicy dino flesh found? All evolution am debunkered? Because you can now go to the shops and buy a fresh prehistoric dino steak. When in fact what was found was tiny fragments of essentially desiccated soft tissue. And all it really suggests is that material can last a lot longer than we thought it could. Not that dinosaurs are only about 27 years old, give or take.
How is it possible that 600 years ago, the Anasazi Indians knew what a brontosaurus looked like?
Oh, it's not even as smart as the dumb thing that I thought it was. No, it's of course good old-fashioned Pareidolia, where instead of the obvious case where that's not what you think it is, it must be the thing I want it to be, because isn't that just more exciting and proves me right? Like when morons internet-wide saw this on an ancient Egyptian hieroglyph thing and screeched in idiotic unison, "Helicopter!" when it's almost certainly something far more mundane, like R1 that Bill's put up, would appear to be a lizard of some description. Hell, the fact that it looks almost cartoony suggests that it's absolutely not a brontosaurus, especially when you combine that with hundreds of years of weathering and erosion. But that's just me. And hell, even if it was a picture of a bronto boy, that is not outside the bounds of reason anyway, because do you know how we found out about them and what they look like in the first place? By finding them. Same way they could have found an interesting creature with a long neck and a tail and made fan art of them too. If that turned out to be what happened, evolution would still be just as true as it is today.
This and a million other facts have dissolved the credibility of Darwinian evolution.
Here's one very stupid fact that doesn't do shit to the theory of evolution. The thing that they are always talking about, even when they call it Darwinian evolution or Darwinism, to attempt to throw it in with everything that has ever been said on the subject, including the things that Darwin got wrong, although it's surprising just how little that actually is. But no, they mean every aspect of modern evolution, because obviously it utterly destroys any concept of creationism or intelligent design. But then he goes on to say that there's millions of other things that prove it wrong, but neglects to bring even one of them up for some reason, which is especially funny as I'm pretty sure there are only a handful of creationist arguments as it is, and all of them are absolutely shit.
Why is this important?
Because your tiny brains do a big sad when you realize that evolution is true and the Bible didn't bring it up even once. And if God didn't know about that fundamental fact about reality, then what else didn't he know about or get wrong? Hint, frickin' everything. And if he's wrong all the time, then what have I believed all my life? No, it is better to double down and pretend that it's all true regardless of what reality says.
Because the theory of evolution has done more to destroy faith in God and the Bible than anything else in modern history.
I told you, these people are absolutely terrified of, well, science in general. Yeah, they will sometimes talk a good game. Oh, well, actually, certain religious institutions supported science. Therefore, science and religion are fine together. But for one, note the word certain. And two, yeah, cool, but that doesn't mean that the science that was being done supported them back. In fact, it quite often didn't. And more than a couple of times, when what was discovered contradicted doctrine, it was seen as tantamount to heresy. And only when they simply couldn't deny the facts staring them in the face did they decide, wait, actually, it turns out that's fine and completely compatible with my book though. And that's the thing. So many religi boys these days have done just that with evolution and are absolutely fine that way. The only people that actually get pushed out of religion by evolution or whatever, it's because of people like you lying to them about how it's totally not true and just the evil them trying to make you not believe in God. So when they find out that it's true, well, you already primed them not to believe in God anymore. I would argue that the biggest contributing factor to the world's increasing irreligiosity is exactly people like you, Bill. Good job.
One of the biggest lies of the 20th century was that science has proven the Bible wrong.
Is it a lie though? I mean, every single fantastical claim in the Bible is in fact scientifically incoherent. From the small details like getting things wrong about the classifications of certain creatures, see bats or birds, to big ones like the utter dearth of evidence to a singular worldwide flood. And no, the existence of large flood myths throughout mythologies and some evidence to support them specifically is not the same thing as them all happening at the same time and wiping out all of humanity. I mean, who the hell wrote the other ones down exactly, dumbass? And not forgetting that the person who made up the story about how the Earth happened at the start genuinely didn't seem to understand that daylight doesn't exist without the sun. Talk about your all-time whoopsies.
No, it hasn't.
Listen, I wouldn't really say that science has disproved the Bible. Not because it strictly hasn't, kind of has, but because that's just too nebulous a claim to be particularly useful. I mean, the Bible does contain moments of historical accuracy, but then so does all historical fiction. But it being fiction doesn't make the things that did actually happen not true, the same way it containing facts doesn't make the untrue things factual. We know which are which because we have evidence to support that conclusion. The problem is, much of the Bible, especially the stuff that matters, is not supported by evidence. And in fact, the evidence that exists in relation to any given event tends to lean in the direction of, well, that shit never happened, did it?
Sadly, most scientists tend to agree with whoever's funding them, and those who fund evolutionary theory.
Oh, give over. That's not how science works, dipshit. As a rule, science doesn't care what people funding it want, because that's the thing. If you're putting out biased, aka bad science, into the world, and it doesn't hold up to scrutiny, then other scientists will tear it to shreds. Also, you're suggesting that 97% of scientists, which includes ones that don't do anything in the realms of biology, mind, are all being paid to agree with evolution. Who? How? That would be so much money. There's something like 9 million scientists in the world. If you had to pay most of them enough money to keep their mouths shut for life, let's call it a reasonable living amount, like $50K a year, it'd be the best part of $500 billion a year, which last I checked is approximately the yearly revenue of picking Amazon. And that's before the fact that for some reason not a single reputable whistleblower has come forward to shine a light on this massive global operation, which then reminds me that the additional infrastructure that would be needed to keep everybody in line, well, the amount of money just goes up forever and ever, almost like it's utter nonsense only believed by absolute wackos.
Are overwhelmingly atheists who want to eliminate God from this world.
Aside from the fact that that is obviously nonsense, science is funded by all sorts of institutions, many of them full of religious folks who are perfectly happy to square their faith beliefs with their scientific understanding. What you are saying here, by saying that most of the funders are atheists, which makes no sense if you know anything about the makeup of the world, is that many of the people who are trying to get rid of God are people who believe in him, which makes even less sense. Like the old atheists are just mad at God or just want to sin, but they believe in him, really, which is a garbage tier argument. Like, no, asshole, if I believed in God, and it's always the one you believe in for some reason, I would know that I can't simply pretend he doesn't exist and think that I would somehow get away with all my quote-unquote crimes. That's like thinking I won't go to jail if I cover my ears and shout la 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 during a sentencing. It's utter gibberish cope because you think me not believing is a personal attack on you specifically.
I thank God for magazines like Axe and Facts.
Oh, are you fecking kidding me? He's doing it again. That bloody Axe and Facts. Is that what this is now? Is that what you are, Bill? Are you just a shill for this fricking magazine? That is twice now, and the first time I was like, haha, Bill the shill selling magazine and pretending it's a PSA, lol 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 lol. But this time I saw your Myster-M killed the evolution and assumed you were just making a video to look like an idiot on the topic. But no, you're just doing it for this, aren't you? It makes me wonder how many of his videos are simply loose attempts to get you to click on a topic so that he can sell you a bleeding subscription. If I wasn't convinced he's getting paid before, I am now. Absolutely gross and potentially illegal now that I think about it. Like, if he is getting compensated in pretty much any way and doesn't disclose that, he could actually be in a lot of trouble. Maybe someone should look into that.
That publish full-color articles by PhD-level scientists who show how honest science strongly supports the Genesis story in the Bible.
Full color? Amazing. What are we, back in the 1920s waiting for the talkies to happen? Holy shit, Bill. And of course, PhD level scientists, but not in a specific field. Almost like the PhD biologists think that you're full of shit. And of course, ignoring the idea that if special interests can pay money to 97% of scientists to agree with them, what the hell makes you think that opposing interests aren't paying your guys to agree with them? How about we just assume most are being earnest and then, oh right, yeah, that leaves you with a pretty big discrepancy to explain. And if you can't say conspiracy, you might have to actually admit that you're wrong and you just cannot have that.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Then he told us how he did it.
Wow, did he? That's weird, because it seems like God doesn't understand how the universe he created works. You know, it's almost like what actually happened is a bunch of assholes who knew nothing about how the anything happened decided they wanted to pretend to know. So they made up a bunch of nonsense, and then far too many morons said, yeah, that sounds good. And the rest is incredibly disappointing history.
The creation story in Genesis has been attacked more than any other part of the Bible.
Yeah, because it's so obviously bullshit. Just because your thing is dumb and everybody can see it's dumb doesn't suddenly make it more correct, you bleeding jackass.
But as always, sooner or later, the Bible emerges from the fray stronger than ever.
Translation: the Bible doesn't change because it can't change, because it's dedicated to the ongoing cause of being wrong about every single one of its scientifically testable claims. America.
The message is this: God's word is God's word, supernaturally delivered and preserved so that men and women can know biblical truth.
Supernaturally preserved? It was written down, Bill. That's it. There's literally nothing magic about it. People made stuff up, wrote it down, and then other people made up more stuff and wrote that down too. And they kept doing that until some other shitwits decided that was enough. And then they chopped and changed a bunch of it, which is now no longer in most of the Bible. So, yeah, supernaturally preserved. Amazing.
And stand firmly upon it through every storm of life. Eternal life through faith in Jesus Christ is the gift of God. Do not let godless, money-driven, pseudo-scientists rob you of your life-giving faith in the one who created you.
Ironic, seeing as I'm not convinced Bill believes a word he says at this point, and potentially really likes money too.